There's a right hand.
Oh, but he leans on him too much.
Knockout.
This video is on how Lennox Lewis used his outside fighting to beat Mike Tyson. He didn't just beat him, he bullied him. Lewis is trained by Steward, a legendary trainer of the sport, who trained great fighters but is most famous for training Thomas Hearns, Vladimir Klitschko and Lennox Lewis. Steward trained his fighters to maximise their reach, have a varied and extended lead hand, and the rear hand was primarily for defence and would hold it similar to the old school fighters. A manual like the old school stance that Ray Robinson and Joe Louis used.
Lewis throwing 39 punches, connecting on 27 for 69% in the fourth round.
Lennox Lewis is a perfect example of an outside fighter who has devastating power in both hands. His jab picked Tyson apart and his right hand broke him and finished him off.
He's got heart. You can't take that from him.
Big right hand from Lewis, and Tyson goes down for the third time in his career.
But in order to know how Lewis defeated Tyson so easily, we need to understand Tyson's strategy. Lewis's rear hand is lower than most. This can be considered suicidal against somebody like Tyson, who has most of his knockouts with his left hooks. That's not uncommon in the old school style of fighting, which Steward taught a variation of. But by not having his hand in a blocking position for the left hook, Tyson's team must have seen this prior to the fight, and that's what they built their strategy around, knowing it may only take one punch to end the fight. He depended on the left hook. He wanted Lewis on one of his knockout reels after one clean punch. He would use his head movement to get in close, which normally worked, but Tyson slips inside. By doing this, you put the weight on your front leg, which allows you to left hook properly. But the problem with inside slips are if there are follow-up punches, they can easily push you off balance, and then you have to reset yourself again. Lewis would throw his jabs perfectly for this situation. In addition to this, you are in line for a right hand, which Lewis used to his advantage. Lewis always varied his jab. He was taught by Steward to extend his arm so follow-up jabs are quicker, but also can be used to feint and come back at different angles easier than if you had the lead hand on your chin. It's far easier to have a varied left hand if it's not in your face. Tyson's eyes are swollen and cut. Although Lewis's jabs are half extended a lot of the time, they still hurt. You wouldn't want to get hit by one of those things. Everyone talks about Tyson's power, but Lewis's right hand was extremely powerful too. He used straights and uppercuts in the fight almost perfectly. The commentators were saying he's not throwing enough and really pushing for more rights and less jabs. Regardless, Lewis fought an almost perfect fight, which is shown by the stats. Halfway through the fight, he landed 100 more punches and had an insane 55% connect rate. Lewis used his jab and footwork to avoid counters. What I like about Lewis is that it's clear he's there to fight. He doesn't look like he's moving to take a break or just run around the ring. His footwork is just a fantastic example of how to box on the outside. Lewis was always going to win the battle for jabs, although he did get caught with some jabs, which did hurt him. Any punch that Tyson throws is meant to hurt you, even his jabs. The vast majority of the time, Lewis was able to jab Tyson at will and not receive much punishment back, particularly after the fourth round. Lewis threw his right hand and then would clinch. This is something that most great fighters do, and smothering after you punch is a topic in itself. The clinch is designed to stop the other person from being able to return a punch. Wait for the ref to reset it, and in theory, you land your shots, they can't punch you back properly, and then the ref puts you back in the centre of the ring again, and then you're ready to repeat. Now this is going to be a bit controversial, but I don't think Tyson was a great inside fighter. I think he was good, don't get me wrong. He was brilliant at countering you as you punched, and he had outrageously strong and fast punches. Distance between the inside and the medium range was Tyson's speciality. His actual inside game, where he spends most of the time in the clinch. And this is perfect for Lewis, as Lewis is able to prevent most of his counters with his footwork, smothering Tyson's punches, and their multiple stinging jabs. And here's some highlights for you to watch. I've done a few videos recently without commentary and just text. Let me know in the comments if you prefer the commentary or just text for future videos.
Tyson is most dangerous. Tyson's Lewis pushing Tyson away also for the second time in this round and delivering.
He's allowing Lennox Lewis to just move around the ring and do whatever he wants.
Certainly shown a strong jaw in this fight because he has taken some solid shots so far.
You don't need to chase a puncher around all night like that.
Lewis again landing at will in the 5th round, 31. He's never had a knockout past the 7th round. Lennox Lewis tripling Mike Tyson. Lewis clearly the aggressor inside the ring. Lennox Lewis trying to finish off Mike.
Conditioning to fight that fight.
Let's bring in Harold Letterman to see how he has the fight score.
Do you think that Lewis had a good game plan? Do you think that he executed it well? Obviously he won the fight, but what do you think about the way he fights? I think he's a perfect example of an outside fighter in a professional game. So yeah, I think he's brilliant.